you're watching this video, it's because you have anxiety and you would like to know strategies and ways in which you can reduce or eliminate your anxiety. When we talk about anxiety, we talk about it as a disorder. We don't talk about it as a feeling. Feelings associated with anxiety include fear, worry, panic. Those are feelings. Anxiety refers to the activation of the fight, flight, freeze response that our body is responsible for naturally. And this happens in situations of danger. If you refer to my anxiety video, my original anxiety video where I discussed the evolutionary component to anxiety, you can learn a little bit of the background. But essentially what ends up happening is that anxiety is this panic response, anxious response in situations where there isn't actually any physical danger. But this person is triggered to feel fear or panic and a need to get out of that situation immediately. So for instance, anxiety disorder can reside on a spectrum. So there are people, for instance, who feel very uncomfortable around spiders, all the way to individuals who experience a very severe arachnophobia, where they can't even think or stand or be near a spider.
Kim, there's a spider on you.
No, there's not, Mom. I swear.
Oh my God, get it off of her! Get it off of her, Mom! Please get it off of her!
So it's common sense that an individual who is arachnophobic will then avoid spiders. That makes sense. But what does that mean for them? Well, if they're avoiding spiders, does that mean that they're not camping or they're not in a position to enjoy the outdoors? So when we talk about avoidance, what is really happening here? You're not just avoiding the thing that you are afraid of, such as that spider, but now you are avoiding aspects of life that you can enjoy. So not only does anxiety come with a biological response, but it also comes with a psychological response in the form of intrusive thoughts. And you can watch my previous video where I discussed intrusive thoughts and ways in which you can reduce your intrusive thoughts over time. So this way you can help have a restful sleep and have hopefully an enjoyable day and overall life. However, when we're talking about in the moment feeling so overwhelmed, so terrified, so worried, so panicked, well, then we're going to look at some strategies on what we can do to reduce that. One way that you can reduce your anxiety in the moment is exercise. I know this sounds kind of funny, but what happens in the body, if we think about it from a physiological standpoint, is that the body is activated. So what happens to an individual when anxiety is triggered in the body is that the sympathetic nervous system is now activated. So if you think about the nervous system like a car, we have the sympathetic nervous system where we step on the gas, we accelerate, we go, we have energy in order to move our body, energy in order to escape the dangerous situation. And then when we feel as though we're in a safe position, we are away from that danger, then the parasympathetic nervous system is activated, in which sense we feel a calming, tranquil, and almost relaxing experience. We might not necessarily notice this consciously because we are safe. We don't need that amount of energy or adrenaline in order to leave a situation. So when someone is experiencing anxiety and the sympathetic nervous system is activated, then the body becomes very overwhelmed and energized and ready to go and to fight. What we can do when the body is activated in that way, exercise, release that energy, do a few jumping jacks, pace, run around if you need to. So when we exercise, when we take a moment to move the body then almost becomes confused, as if we are dealing with the danger in that moment. So the body sends a signal to the brain, everything is okay. We're expelling this energy, we are safe, there is nothing going on. So the body is able to regulate itself. You probably experienced a time in which you were trying to distract yourself or trying various different strategies, but your mind was chaotic and it felt like you were spiraling. Well, that's probably because the anxiety still resided in the body. So if the anxiety is not processed through the body and the mind, then the body can hold on to it. So this brings us to the second strategy, which is how to deal with the anxiety cognitively. When you're in the moment and you're afraid of the spider, what are you going to do? Well, most likely you're going to default and your mind is going to come up with all of these different thoughts and feelings associated to why this spider is so dangerous and why you have to avoid this spider. But if you allow a more logical, rational part of your mind to surface, if you allow yourself to ground yourself and to validate, okay, yes, I am terrified of this spider, and I have my reasons to be terrified of this spider. We're not going to invalidate that. That's important to be mindful of and to be aware of, and to accept yourself that you are afraid and you do have limitations. You're human. Everyone has limitations. So by gently challenging our mind to look at the other side of the spectrum, okay, well, yes, I'm afraid of that spider, but ultimately that spider is not going to hurt me. I am a lot bigger than that spider. So if I needed to, I can actually step on and squish that spider. I'm more dangerous than that spider is. Start thinking and regulating yourself in that capacity using the conscious, logical part of your psyche, rather than succumbing to the default part that is activated by the anxiety. You're now able to say, okay, yes, I'm afraid of spiders, but at the same time, in this situation, I am safe. But over time, the more in which you analyze and interpret what is going on in regards to your arachnophobia, well, then you're in a position of experiencing more longer-term change. Because each time you are presented now with a spider, you can respond differently. You don't have to react. A third strategy, and I said this in my previous anxiety video, is tapping. So tapping is an emotional freedom technique, and what it does is it helps to activate the parasympathetic nervous system. So the process is to tap particular spots on your face. You can use your body if you'd like, particular pressure points that helps to activate the parasympathetic nervous system. And the body can now come back to a sense of balance. And same thing with the mind. So what you will do is you will take your hands and you will essentially kind of karate chop and hit the pressure point on your pinky. Tapping it out. Tapping it out. And as you're doing this process, you will say to yourself, even though I'm feeling scared in this moment, or I'm feeling panicked in this moment, or I'm feeling worried in this moment, I still love and appreciate myself. And you might have to do this system a few times. You might take a minute, you might take 5 minutes. Maybe the first time that you do it, it can be very overwhelming. Maybe the first time that you do it, it might take a few more minutes for you to get settled. But once you have a rhythm, once you have a process, then in the moment, you can reestablish that sense of balance. So now in this tapping exercise, we are bringing the body strategy together along with the conscious strategy together, focusing on validating the anxiety as well as loving and appreciating ourselves and being grounded in this sense of safety, that we aren't in danger. I hope you found this video really helpful to help you reduce or eliminate your anxiety in the moment. These strategies, working on the body, the mind, and a combination of working on the body and the mind, can really help build your toolbox to help you through your stabilization process so your anxiety doesn't have to run your life. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more awesome content. While you're waiting for my next video, don't miss out on this video where I talk about ways in which to increase your happiness.